What's happening, Earthlings? Boy, been doing a lot of meditating, a lot of thinking, trying to hit the brakes, pause, going from moments of feeling anger and then grief, anger, grief, and resolve, through prayer and meditation. And there was this, when I was first getting sobered up, there was this book that Chuck C put out, and called A New Pair of Glasses. And the first time I read that book, it just, it's so inspirational for one, because, Chuck, like me, he's one of us. He was very successful in life, good writer and everything down the line, clean, sober, and all that stuff. But that book, it really had a profound effect on me. And I'm going to share this, kind of paraphrase the story, and sort of a spoiler alert too, but with that book called A New Pair of Glasses. But I think it's kind of pertinent now with everything that's going on. I mean, I woke up feeling kind of like salty, and then it's kind of like looking at Jesus. His picture is always right there in front of me, and then, doing that 11 step, praying for the knowledge of his will and the power for, carry it out, and sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God. And so, not praying for anything else, because dare I do that. I seem to, if you've been in the program a long time and you work this stuff, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, be careful what you pray for, because prayer is powerful. It's real. But with everything that's going on, and I'm seeing how it's affecting my family, the larger, broader family, two family members, and it's so easy, especially if you're inclined to like to fight. I like to fight, Boxing, I'm not, debating, but there's certain boundaries, it's kind of like, this I'm not going to fight over. I'm not going to get involved in, and it will resolve itself eventually over time. But I'm going to shut up. I'm going to regroup my thoughts here, and I'll be right back. Yeah, the weight of everything is just, I keep thinking I'm going to wake up the next day and feel a little bit better. It's like, it's not gone yet. But it's because it's heavy, and for great reasons. But, I was thinking, it's times like these, I'm grateful to be a recovering alcoholic. I can screw things up pretty quick, sober, real quick. But I'm an instant asshole when I add alcohol. And so, God, I'm insufferable and intolerable as it is sober. Most of the time, probably, right? But I want to share this story. Excuse me. About A New Pair of Glasses. It's about these two little fish. And they were curious little fish. They were, young and naive and curious and wanted to explore the world or the sea, And so, anyhow, all these fish are schooling over here in the Academy of Fish, hanging out and getting education. And they kind of skipped school and went swimming over here. And they just kept on wandering off into the forbidden zone. And, they seen this sign. And they'd never seen a sign before, but there was like the sign in the water, and old, been there for a long time. And this old rusted sign on the bottom, and seabed there, and it said water, and that's what it said. It just said water. And the two little fish looked at each other, and they were like, huh? And they're like, what's water? And that nobody ever spoke of water, never seen a sign about water. There's no nothing. Anyway, so, they kind of got lost in thought, and they just kept talking about it. And they kept swimming away, and before too long, they were kind of lost in this vast ocean. And so they start going here and there and asking other fish, have you seen that sign about water? Do you have any idea what water is? And they're like, what are you talking about? Are you insane? And they're getting laughed at, and like, well, what are you talking about? So they just, now they're feeling kind of on the outs, and so, but they keep searching and searching and searching, and they've been, they get the same answer everywhere they go. Water? What? Are you nuts? And finally, after years and years and years and years, they are way up in the years, and they've been swimming a long time, these fish. And finally, they get to this old wise fish, and they're discouraged. They're about done. They're tired, wiped out, and they ask this old fish, one more time. They thought, they told them they'd been all around the world, everywhere. they'd seen it all, and nobody can quite explain this, well enough. What is this water? We seen this sign and it said water, and nobody can explain it. And the old fish looked at him and puffed up his puffers a little bit, probably flipped his flippers, and then he said, "Well, youngins, you've been swimming in it your whole life." And the little fish, well, they're old fish now, but I mean, they're like, and that's it. The story kind of ends right there, and where it usually does. And the moral of that story, we're all swimming in God. We're swimming in life, where it's one day at a time, one moment at a time, one breath at a time, one heartbeat at a time, in the moment, swimming. And if you're really gifted, you may get to know where you're swimming to the next moment. But probably not. And so we're all kind of going, flying by the seat of our pants. And I think, honestly, that we're all a wee bit agnostic. Lord help. What's that, Lord? I believe, Lord help thy unbelief, sort of. When it comes right down to the, nuts and bolts of it. And our faith and our strength and all that doesn't really mean anything in calm seas. It's when you get into the stormy seas, where you're not being tossed to and fro and all the way, because you're set. You understand what you're experiencing. Stormy seas. Batten down the hatches, all right? Follow the protocol. So, but I love that story. And it also reminded me of when I was in a meeting a long time ago. I think it was a candlelight meeting. And we were talking about this whole thing about belief, and proof. And one guy is saying, prove to me God exists. Another guy is saying, prove to me he doesn't exist. And prove to me about prayer. And one person says, well, I think, but you can't see my thoughts, and my thoughts can manifest and make things and help or make things worse. And so there is something there, right? Well, prayer is sort of the same. And you get into these debates sort of, which is really kind of cool. But one thing's for certain, I'll tell you what, in the program, you got every walk of life that shows up, and we all have one friggin' common problem, and that's our drinking. And there we're able to get along and find common ground, irregardless of all these other crazy things. We're all sort of, we understand fundamentally that we're searching for the same thing, and I think it's peace of mind to feel, to know where you belong, and to have love, and to feel loved and protected and safe. And, human beings all want the same thing. And I don't know what part of history, that got skewed, but it don't matter where you come from, where you go, who you are. I mean, as a human being, you're going to suffer the same things. We all suffer all the same things. We feel the same about a lot of things. Some don't feel much at all, I guess, but some feel too much. Who cares? We're more alike than not, and we're all kind of searching for the same things, I think. The majority of us, 2/3 of the population, believe in something greater than themselves. And I think, you could say the other third is probably more agnostic than anything else. The true blue believers, I think, is a rare article. And because it's, we're also human. And you can't get away from that. Sin is sin. Hate the sin, not the sinners, because I haven't forgotten where I come from. I'm just saying. And in the search, for wholesomeness, or to, feel good inside and good about the people around you and all this, it's going to be an ongoing thing. But none of that can happen, if you're stuck in the muck and spinning your wheels and pissed off and, and in confusion, showing confusion. These times calls for cooler heads and listen to your heart. Maybe a good time to talk to Jesus, your Father in heaven, whoever it is that you pray to that's benevolent in love, rest in that, cast the burdens on that, and that's what Jesus said. He takes care of the rest. I believe that. It's only when I get into this right here and forget about this right here, where I start struggling with things. And so thank God, for the program, the 12-step program, for my sobriety. It's something that nobody can take from me. My time, nobody can take from me. My faith, nobody can take from me. You can take everything else. You can kill me, whatever, but you can't take those things from me. I go to the pearly gates with a full heart. If you're doing the right things for the right reasons and you keep doing that, that's the best we get. It's as good as it gets, I think. And there's peace in that. Peace that I'm not perfect, peace that you're not perfect, peace that we're living in a perfect world. And that nothing's new. Not much has changed in 5,000 years as far as behavior. People look different, sound different, but behavior-wise, human beings, yeah, pretty sure the aliens and stuff, the reason why we don't see them, they just keep cruising by most of the time, or like they skip in and say, "Whoa, let's get the hell out of here." These humans are hostile, fickle, folly, and we are, and I include myself into that group. One day they were ushering Jesus in as king, and then wasn't long after that they were nailing him to a cross. That's about humanity in a nutshell, right there. And Paul talked about leaping, jump for joy when we're being persecuted, and and all that, because we know that time is getting closer. So anyway, I'm going to stop preaching right there because I have a whole nother video I want to do to kind of talk about some other things. But I love that story, and working through it all like everybody else. So be well, be free, be sane. Take time out and breathe, pray, meditate. All those things are good. Just saying.